To start exploring the Tableau interface and cover some of the Tableau terminology, I opened the car sales Tableau packaged workbook and clicked the Data Source tab at the bottom, as we did in the previous module. Tableau shows what it calls a data source, and data sources are the basis for visualizations. In a later module, we'll cover how to create data sources. Data sources typically consist of a number of tables, and we see the tables in this particular data source at the top. And if you mouse over the link between two of the tables, you can see which fields in each of the tables were used to link the tables. Now, one note. Tableau allows you to create either a logical or physical relationship between the tables in the data source, in much the same way as you can look at tables in a relational database, both from a logical and a physical point of view. The view above is the logical view, and that's become the default in the more recent versions of Tableau. We will limit ourselves to the logical view in this course because it gives you more flexibility. But you can find more information on the difference between the logical and physical view on the page at help.tableau.com. The actual URL is included in the Canvas page. The bottom half shows the fields that have been included from the table highlighted in the top pane. So the above, this shows the content of the client list table. But you can change it by clicking on one of the other tables. So for example, if I click on countries, I will now see what information has been included from the countries table. I'm going back to client list. One aspect to draw attention to are the icons at the tops of the various columns or fields. They indicate the type of the field. As you would expect, a hash indicates a numeric field and ABC indicates a string. One aspect, one icon to draw attention to is the globe icon. They indicate that Tableau has interpreted this field as having a geographical role, of which more later. You can change the type of the field by simply clicking on the icon and then selecting the field that you might want to use. We're not going to make any changes to the types for this particular purpose, for this particular exercise, but it's useful to know that you can change the type if necessary, and we will rely on this feature in a later module. Visualizations are created in a worksheet, and we'll briefly explore the worksheet interface. So I clicked on the Sheet 1 tab at the bottom to bring up an empty worksheet. You will see the fields in the data source on the left. And you will notice that the fields in the data source are divided into two sections. The fields above the vertical line, like these, are dimensions. And usually those fields cannot be aggregated. The fields at the bottom are measures, and as the name suggests, are fields that can be measured, aggregated, or used for mathematical operations. Dimensions are typically used for row or column headings in visualizations, and measures are typically used for plotting or giving values in a visualization. To the right of the fields are what Tableau calls shelves. You build a visualization by dragging dimensions and measures into the shelves. The rows and columns shelves at the top here are typically used to create simple visualizations. The top shelf on the right, pages, can be used to create pages animations of visualizations, and we'll see examples of how to use this shelf in a later module. The filter shelf is obviously used to create interactive filters on visualizations. The marks shelf is used to refine the visualization, for example, by changing the color of the bars in a bar chart. The various boxes in the mark shelf are called cards. To create a visualization that shows sales by color, I minimize the client list and the countries table, and then drag the color dimension into the shield on the into the sheet on the left, on the right rather. You will see that Tableau has now added the color dimension in the row shelf. The rounded rectangle in the row shelf is called a pill. I now drag the sales price measure into the text card in the marks shelf. And you'll see that Tableau now has added the sales price to the sheet. You will notice that by default, Tableau uses the sum aggregation method, but again, we'll see how to change this later. Notice also that the sum sale price pill is a different color than the color pill in the rows shelf. The brighter pill, the color of the pill indicates whether the pill represents a dimension or a measure. The brighter green pills are measures, and the duller ones are dimensions. You'll also notice the Show Me link on the right top corner. When you click on it, it will give you this set of possible visualizations that you can make given the dimensions and measures you have dragged into the sheet. If you mouse over one of them, you will notice at the bottom here that the dimensions and measures that you need for this visualization to be feasible. And you'll also notice that some of them are grayed out because I don't have, in this case, a sufficient number of measures to create a line chart. And this completes the familiarization exercise. And you will, of course, encounter many more details of Tableau as we go through the course.